Hello guys, what is up? This is Colin with Colin Talks Crypto. I wanted to bring you guys a quick update on the subject of lost EOS private keys, specifically in regards to the Genesis block tokens. As you know, a little while ago I made a video about a friend of mine who has lost just under 15,000 EOS tokens. So I'm taking it upon myself to follow this and update you guys in case any of you are in the same boat that my friend is in. And I have good news today. Things are looking hopeful. Things are looking up because of some news I just got. And actually what I did is I created this flow chart that you'll see here. So first of all, this entire flow chart only applies if we're talking about accessing the Genesis block tokens. These are the tokens that were included in the very first block of EOS as a result of the ICO and the snapshot that was taken. This chart also does not apply to any hacked, scammed, or stolen EOS. The reason I made this flow chart is because I got this message here on the right from Liam Wu. He's from EOS 42. This was in the EOS 911 group. And he said, for all the unregistered token holders, the 0.3% of supply tokens that did not register and have no fallback. Some good news. If things go well, we will have something in 3 weeks' time. The BPs discussed this item today. I presented a code solution, and we have consensus from the BPs. We now have a fully automated process which will involve Ethereum private keys, etc. So this is awesome news. And normally the case is that you could simply use what's called the fallback method if you forgot to register your tokens. All it required is that you had to have at least one outgoing Ethereum transaction. You actually take your Ethereum key and use it to create a compatible EOS private key. And you'll be able to access your tokens because that method was already used during the Genesis block. For anyone who had not registered, the code actually generated one for you based on your Ethereum public address. But as he says here, there were 0.3%, a very, very small number of people who didn't register their EOS tokens and did not have an outgoing transaction in their Ethereum account. And those people were not eligible up until this point to have any recourse to get their tokens back. Now that made me wonder, if there's a solution being created for this 0.3% of people, what about those of us who did register, but we simply lost our EOS private key? And it turns out that the same solution that is being used here can work for us as well with slight adaptations. Now this is if you registered your EOS, you did properly register it before the mainnet launch, and you do not have your EOS private key. With the small caveat that in this particular case on this side of the branch, you have to wait for a altered version of the solution mentioned by Liam Wu here. So there's a really, really helpful individual named Blake, and he is the admin at EOS Lost Private Key Group. And he had a conversation with a figure named Dr. Waldo of EOS Argentina. The block producer member here will be on the left. Blake is asking those who correctly completed their registration process through the proper channels, so that would be a yes to this question, but lost their private key through one misfortune or another. Here, Dr. Waldo says they will be creating the UI to interact with the contract we developed. The code was written by our team. I talked with our devs. They said that this solution can be reused for the needs you mentioned, but we will need two things. One, to adapt the code a little, and two, involve the ECAF so that they approve an ETH address to be included on a table that we can read, so we can read from the table in order to validate. And so there'll basically be a little procedure where you validate that you own the ETH key, you get a code, and then the block producer can see that you are the correct true owner of those tokens, and they'll transfer them from the account, because you did create an account, you did register, right? So it'll transfer it from that account that they've been just sitting in that you can't access into an account that you can access. And so obviously you'll have to generate a new set of private and public keys to transfer those tokens into. It looks like that's what's going to happen. So first will be this path that will get solved, and then next will be adapted for these guys here. So there is hope. So I just wanted to bring that bit of positive news to you, and it looks like it's going to be resolved. It'll just take a little time for the code to get finished, for the UI to get finished, and then depending on your case, for that code to be adapted to the particular use case that you need to recover your private keys. Please pass this along to anyone who needs this, anyone who either failed to register their EOS or who did register their EOS and then later lost their EOS private key. And lastly, please make sure to sign the petition at change.org. That is the petition that Blake made to request from BPs that there's many of us out here. So sign that petition to show your support. The BPs do look at that. Also join the EOS Laws private key group. Again, that's Blake's private key group. I think he's doing a tremendous job and service to the community, and I just wanted to thank him for that right here on this video. And lastly, join the EOS 911 private key issues group, another very good place and resource for those of us who have some issues with our private keys. Okay, guys, with that being said, I hope you're having a fantastic day. Talk to you later.